Good morning, everybody. It is week 7, day 1. We're going to be taking a look at Photoshop again. A lot of people were confused last week. So we're going to try to do like the exact same thing one more time. And I'm going to go a little bit slower, cover things a little bit differently today. Hopefully it's stuff that makes better sense to you guys. I feel like I've been able to identify some of the problems. A lot of you had issues downloading the file, and so I'm going to kind of walk through that a little bit more, and a lot of you were just lost and confused. So here's how this is going to have to work, because some of you are learning at home and some of you are learning in the classroom. So we're going to be using Photoshop in the classroom. For those of you who are at home, I know that you might can download Photoshop, and we're trying to work out a way for y'all to be able to access it at home. Right now, everyone that has tried downloading it and logging in is getting an error. So if you're learning in the classroom, you're going to be using Photoshop. If you're learning at home, you're going to be using Photopea. .com. PHOTOPEA.com. Photopea. And that is really, really, really close to Photoshop. In fact, you could probably watch the Photoshop tutorial and get that, but I'm going to create another tutorial just specifically for Photopea. So let's get started today, and let me show y'all what we're going to be doing. So here we go. Well, I say here we go. I've lost a display on my computer. Let me add this back. Oh, it's not going to let me add it back. Oh, what a great day. Here we go. It's going to be a great day, guys. Happy Monday. We're going to add this one more time. And hopefully it doesn't crash. So we're going to hit add. We're going to hit video. We're going to hit, nope. And we're going to hit, there we go. So my Mac shows up, and hit done. And there it is. Oh, I hit the close button. That's why it keeps doing that. I'm screwing it up. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. One more time. Hit plus, hit inputs, hit display, hit done. There we go. It's my computer. We're fixed. There we go. We're up and running now. All right. So the very first thing we need to do is to get the file. And this is where a lot of people had problems. So I'm going to come down here to my browser. I'm using Safari. You're using, who knows, sometimes Chrome, sometimes Safari. Some of you wild, crazy people are out there using Firefox, and some of you basic people are using Edge, and I don't know why. So last week on the Rose tutorial, a lot of you had issues downloading the image. And let me show you a really quick thing about Chrome and Google. Google and Chrome are making everyone's lives difficult on purpose. But when you click on the image to download, it says couldn't preview the file, and a lot of you just maybe stopped or had issues. But if you come up here to the very top right corner, it says more actions, and if you click those 3 dots and click open in a new window, it will open the image, and you can either click download or you can even right click. No, you can't right click. They just disabled that. Well, that's stupid. So just click download, and it will, download the image. So just in case that comes up, that's how you do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that. We're gonna come back over here, get out of that. Here is our assignment for today. So you're gonna come, hopefully first you have checked out our website, which is, no, that's last week, which is here. And it says this week, and it even has the date right here. So bit.ly/34JGJ3 capital W will get you to this website. I'm going to include a link right here. It's on Google Classroom in case you're one of those people that comes here first. And eventually it's going to bring you, someone's actually already turned this in. That's crazy. I just posted it 6 seconds ago. We're going to come over here and we're going to click on this assignment, and we're going to of course, this is the way I see it because I'm a teacher. We're going to click on this assignment. It gives us the same image, same problem. So we're going to click the 3 buttons, open in a new window, and then voila. And we're going to click download, and it's going to download it to our downloads folder. So if you're on a Mac at the school, your downloads folder is down here. It says downloads. If you're on a Chromebook at home, I actually don't know where that goes. I don't have a Chromebook. I actually only use them about 3 times. I'm not a fan, so kind of don't know where those go. But you know where your downloads go, hopefully. Once you get it downloaded, what we need to do is to bring it into Photoshop. So here's my Photoshop. This is all the files I've been working on. Here's what we have to do in Photoshop. We need to be able to edit the image at its native size. And so a lot of times that's kind of confusing for y'all to understand, but if you've ever downloaded a file and looked at it and it's real pixelated or weird, that's because you downloaded like a thumbnail or a very small version. And the best way to edit photos is to edit it at its native size. So remember that concept, native size. And so the way that we need to do that is, one, we either need to know the native size of the image, which I don't know, it's 3,300 and something pixels by some other number of pixels, or we can just open the image. And so that's what we're going to do, is just open the image in Photoshop. There's a way to create a file of a certain type in Photoshop, but we're just going to open the image because that's the easiest. So I'm going to come over here to open. And I'm going to make sure I go to my downloads. So on my Mac, I'm going to look over here in the favorites right there, and I'm going to click downloads. And now I have to find my image. So on my computer, I have got so many downloads. It's ridiculous. So many. It's just absurd, honestly. And now I have to find it. So here we go. Looking for it. There it is right there. And on a Mac, just a low-key thing that helps if you need to make sure it's the right file, you can click on it once, not twice. Don't double-click, and hit the space bar, and it will give you a preview. And so you can hit the space bar again and it goes back. That is the file I want, so I'm going to click open. So one more time, just to make sure. You come over here and you click open if you're in Photoshop. You come down to downloads, and you click Adobe Stock right there, open. And here's our image. Okay, so this is the image we're going to be editing, and what we're going to be doing today is the same thing we did last week, where we're going to turn the background black and white, and we're going to leave the car, or the subject of the photograph, color. So we're going to leave the subject color, turn the background black and white. And I got a lot of feedback from y'all saying that you didn't really understand what I was doing. So I'm going to try to explain it a little bit differently today, and hopefully that makes sense. Photoshop uses layers. So imagine if we had this picture up in our hands. If we were going to do this physically, and I told you to do this physically, the way that you would do it, the way that I would do it, is I would just take this picture to a copy machine and run a black and white copy. And then you'll have a color copy, and you can lay the black and white copy over the top of it. Now, because the black and white copy is, opaque and on paper, we can't see through it. So the way to get the color image to come through is we're actually just going to cut a hole in the black and white. So I would take my scissors and I would cut a hole in the black and white copy, and then I'd put them on top of each other again. And there you have, it would be crude, but you would have a black and white background and a color. Or there's another way you can do it. You could cut out the color copy of the car and glue it to the black and white. Either way, you're using two different layers, a black and white layer and a color layer, and you're cutting something out of one and putting it on top of the other so that it's visible. And so that's what we're going to do, but we're going to do that digitally. So what I need to do is I need to create a second layer. Your layers panel is over here in the corner, and some of you have an extra little window right here that's got all these other little things about education, but don't worry about that. That's not a big deal. But if you've got paths, you've got channels, you've got layers, make sure you're on layers and not paths or channels. And if you don't have a layers, come up here to window, come down here to layers, and then you should be able to click it and turn it on, and it'll appear. And so what we need to do with our layers is, and by the way, Photoshop uses layers. Everything we're going to be doing is layers based, and it's kind of, I have found over the years, it's kind of hard for students to wrap their minds around that layers concept at first. But once you get it, you'll get it, and it'll be easy. So just kind of trust me and go along with what I say, and we'll be good. So let's go back. So I need to create another layer. If you've noticed, my background layer is locked, and Photoshop does that by default to keep you from accidentally screwing something up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the lock off just by clicking it once. Well, there it goes. I might have just broke my computer. There we go. Clicking it once will turn it off. My computer's running really slow today for some reason. And now here we are. We have this single layer. It looks good. It's what we want, but we want the background to be black and white. So I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to go to layer, and I'm going to go to duplicate layer on the menu at the top. On a Mac, it's so much faster to use shortcuts, like way faster to use the keyboard shortcuts. And one of the keyboard shortcuts I use all the time is Command J, and that actually does the exact same thing, duplicates the layer. So you can just hit Command J, or you can come up here to layer and hit duplicate layer. And it pops up this window, and I'm gonna give it a name. I'm gonna call it black and white, so I know what layer is what, and I'm gonna hit OK. And over here in your layers panel, you'll see that you have two very distinct layers. And both of those layers are the same right now. But what we want to do is to change the top layer to black and white. So I'm going to change the top layer to black and white. And the way that I'm going to do that, I'm actually going to do it an easier way than I did it the other day. The other day I was trying to get too fancy and show y'all how to do it non-destructively, but we'll work on non-destructive later. So we're going to do a completely destructive method today. It's fine. So we're going to do that. So here we go. We're going to completely destroy and make this image black and white, but it's okay because we duplicated it and there's another one underneath it. So I'm going to come up to image, adjustments, and then I'm going to go black and white. So image at the top, adjustments, so it's file, edit, image, just in case you're reading across from left to right. Image, adjustments, black and white, and you're just going to click it. And it gives you this dialog box. And that gives us the ability to adjust how light or dark all of the colors are. And as you can see, the car was blue, and I'm messing with the blues just to kind of show you what it will do. But just stick with the default and hit OK. And so here we have a black and white image. Now, if you come back over to your layers panel and you look at the little eyeballs, you can turn those off and on, and you can see, like, I can make this layer disappear. Basically, the eyeball means it's not visible anymore. So there we go. Now, what I need to do is I need to cut a hole in the black and white image so that we can see the color image underneath it. And the tool I'm going to use to cut a hole in it today is the eraser tool. So we're just going to use the eraser tool to essentially erase a hole into the black and white image so that we can see the color car underneath. So let's try that. So with my black and white layer selected, and I cannot tell you enough how important this is, you can select different layers at different times. So make sure your black and white layer on top is selected. I'm going to come over and I'm going to select my eraser tool on the side. It is a little rectangle at an angle. You can just hit the letter E on your keyboard if you want. My version of Photoshop shows me how to erase, but I'm going to go ahead and click that. And there are a couple things you need to know really quickly about using an eraser, or really a lot of the tools. And those involve the brush adjustments. So up here in your top left, this is where you make adjustments to your brush. So imagine making your eraser size bigger or smaller. So today, all I'm going to tell you is make sure your hardness is set to 20%. So you're going to click the little arrow beside the brush. Mine has a number, it says 35. You're going to click the little arrow besides the brush and make sure your hardness is at 20%. And the size, we're going to have to adjust. Now, you can come up here and change the size by just moving it up and down, and you can see your little circle cursor gets bigger. I like to adjust it by using the left and right brackets on my keyboard because it's much, much faster. So I'm going to come in and with my brush, my hardness set to 20%, and I'm just going to start making sure I'm on the black and white layer. I'm just going to start erasing. And like I said, my computer's running really slow today, so you know. I'm just going to erase all the way around the car, just getting as much as I can. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the details in just a minute. And get it really tight and close and make it look better. So, here we go. And that's looking pretty good. But we need to get around the edges. So, I'm going to turn this black and white layer off. Oh, nope, I said the wrong thing. I need to turn the color layer off. That's what I need to do. So click the eyeball on the color layer, and you can see that we have a lot of erasing to do. So if you want to kind of work like this, you can, because all you're wanting to do is take out the black and white image of the car. So anytime you have a checkered background, that means that's transparent, or that there's a hole there. So here we go. We're erasing. And this is just a really easy way to do this. It's not the most accurate and it's not the best, but it is the easiest and fastest for beginners. So I'm just going to come in and do all this, get all these little edges, make sure there's nothing left of the car and that there is just a hole where the car was. And so really quickly, this is not my best work, but it's fine. You guys are going to do much, much better than I'm doing. I'm just trying to do this in a hurry. And so that's pretty close. I could do a lot better job around these edges, especially here at the front. And what I'm doing is I'm just shrinking my tool with the bracket keys, the left and right bracket keys that are next to the letter P. Those will make your cursor or your brush larger or smaller. And I just shrink that down to get a more accurate kind of cut on this. All right, so that's pretty good. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my color layer that's underneath back on. And so this is pretty accurate for what I used. There's faster and more accurate ways to do this, but today we're doing it like this, just so you can kind of get an idea of how that works. So when you're done, which I'm done right now, when you're finished, go to File, go to Export. No, let's do it a different way because that's going to be really too confusing. Go to File, go to Save As. This is going to be the easiest way to do it. You want to change the name to something that you'll remember and be able to find. So I'm going to change it to my last name, and I'm going to just call it Mustang. So Brown Mustang, which is funny because it's actually a blue Mustang, but okay. If you're at school learning, you're going to change the downloads to someplace you can find it. Maybe your desktop, maybe somewhere specific. We just want you to be able to find where this is going. So you can click here and change it, or you can actually just click over here. My desktop is down here because of the way I have my computer set up, but you can just save it to your desktop. The next thing we need to do, so we've changed the name up top, we've changed the location over here, and now we need to change the format. I don't want you to turn in a Photoshop file or a PSD. I want you to turn in a JPEG. So if you click Format, come down to JPEG and click that. And that's going to save it as a JPEG. And then just click Save. And when this window pops up, you're going to change the quality to 12 if it's not already there. And just hit OK. And now it has saved our image as a JPEG. So if I come back over to my desktop, which those are my text messages, and these is, a folder. If I come back over here to my desktop, I'm looking for it, but I'm not seeing it. Here it is, brown Mustang. That's my image right there. So that's it. Now I need to turn it in. So to turn it in, guys, same kind of simple process. We're going to go back over here to, and we're just going to come back to our instructions. Now, unfortunately, I can't show you, but over here on your version of Classroom, there will be a thing that says turn it in, and you're going to add the image right there. So, that is how to do it in a nutshell. Hopefully that is less confusing. I had a lot of people that just didn't even start it, didn't even try it. Hopefully that helps you get it done today. That's it for today. Hopefully that helps. If you have issues, email me, william.brown@terrellisd.org. Make sure you are following me on the Remind @PRINOFAV1, and that way I can send you messages. I am going to be using that more and more. And that's all I've got for you guys today. Hope y'all have a great day. See ya.